Hello, everyone. Let us start with today's class. Today, I'm planning to cover the remaining topic of the class, object-oriented class definitions and declaration. Okay, and if time permits, I will also try to cover UML diagram. Okay, that too only class diagram. So let us start with today's topic. So we have already seen. If I'm not audible, CRs are requested to unmute themselves and talk to me. So we have already seen that while defining the class, while giving the class definition, we need to introduce variables and function name, and not only name, but type also. Okay. And we also discussed that the bytes, that is memory, is allocated only for the variables, that is attributes. Okay. And when we give the definition for a particular function, there only the code is generated for that member function. Okay. So always remember, just declaration will not cause the compiler to allocate the memory. When we will be giving the definition, there only the compiler will allocate the memory, okay, to store the variable or the function code. Uh, we know that a particular variable can be defined, can be declared only once. Okay, same is applicable when we create an object. That is, when we instantiate an instance of a class. So we cannot have two objects with the same name. Okay, so it has to be defined exactly once in a program. Okay, so here we have seen that declaration is one part. Okay, and we have already seen that what is the extern, how to make use of extern, and who will be responsible for resolving the external linkage. Okay, so linker will be responsible for resolving the unresolved or external references, external variable. Okay, so coming to the summary of what we have seen for the class, we have seen that class definition defines a type. Which type? A user defined type. Okay, just defining the class will not generate the code for the class. Okay, unless and until compilers see the individual member function or data member, it will not generate the code for that. Okay, so just declaring and defining the class will not allocate the memory. When we will be instantiating an instance of a class in the form of object, there the memory will be allocated for the various variable or attribute of that object. Okay, okay, coming to the separate compilation. Okay, now for the separate compilation, during the tutorial conducted by Soumya, we have already seen that how the project is created. Okay, if anyone is having any doubt, let me know. If anyone is having any doubt, if you want, I can demonstrate right now, live, how to create an object, create a project, and how to have a header files, Do you want me to demonstrate right now? Okay, fine. So I will be login with my another device. And in case if you are not able to hear me, if I am not audible, okay, immediately let me know. Because my experience is that whenever I log in with two devices, sometime my voice is not audible. Okay, so for a moment, I will stop sharing this PPT and then I will come back to this PPT. Okay,
Ma'am,
just yes, yes.
if we are, for example, using a class in several C files, then
Yes.
wouldn't we be repeating the code a lot of times if
No,
we
no,
write
no.
all the definitions inside the C file?
No, I will demonstrate right now. Okay, this is I will demonstrate the same thing right now using IDE. Okay, so I'm using code block. Fine, I'm using code block, and now just have a look on this code. This is the code I have taken from the book Detail. Okay, how to program C. Uh, I don't remember exactly the chapter number, but here what I tried to do is a class time is defined. Okay, class time is defined, and it is defined in um, time1.h here. Okay, in my actual program it is defined, I don't remember exactly, some another name is given. Okay, I hope any doubt here. Okay, if you look at the member methods, one is a member method, which is the name of that member method is nothing but the name of the class. Okay, name of the class. Right now don't think about it. Okay, very soon I will be talking about it. Okay, just ignore that. But just remember that it is called constructor. It is a special kind of member method which is called constructor. Then set time is a setter method, and print is a just to print. Okay, here a small demonstration where we want to print the time in a various format. One is the military time, another is the standard print. Okay, and now there are three data members. One is hour, next is minute, third is second. Okay, fine. This goes into .h file. Okay, so whenever you create a .h file in most of the IDE, this will be by default. If not defined,
Ma'am, you're not audible.
yeah, thank you. So this is one file, okay, completely one file, which is a header file. Which is a header file. Okay, and this is in most of the IDE, you will get this by default if you have a new header file. Okay, if not define, time1 underscore h, that is header, define it. So it is a conditional macro. Fine. So here, this is the class definition. This is the class definition. Now come to the another file, which is time1.cpp. Try to get the difference. Time1.cpp. And here, if you look at this include statement, you will realize that what is included, time1.h is included. Okay. And here, the definition of each and every member function is given. Okay. So this is what times, this is the name of the constructor, a spatial member function, which is called constructor. Why it is called spatial? Because the name of that member method is the name of the class itself. Okay, I'm going to discuss constructor in very depth. Okay, so right now just try to understand that it is just give me 1 minute. Are you able to see? Okay, fine. So here another file, okay, another text file is created with an secondary extension name .cpp. Okay, and in that .h file is included. If you look at the line number 7, okay, if you look at the line number 7, you will see that it is a time1.h is included other than the IO stream. Okay, and here all the member functions are defined. All the member functions are defined. Is that clear? Okay, and now here is the another file. Here is the another file where I am writing my main function. Where I am writing my main function. So together in this project, how many files I have created? I created one header file and two CPP file. Okay, header file will contain only class declaration. Okay, and then the respective member functions definition is present in the corresponding .cpp file. Okay, so my class name file was time1.h. So just to have a proper coordination, I said time1.cpp. So I will come to know that time1.h is having a class declaration, and then time1.cpp is having a definition of all the member functions of that class. Okay, and then another .cpp file where here I have given the name im_program1.cpp where I wrote my main function. Okay, so I will come back to this again. Now I will share my screen. I hope I am audible, right? I want that every one of you, I hope everyone has installed some IDE, or those who are would like to work with Linux, they are ready with their G++ compiler. Yes. I hope all of you are able to see my screen. Okay, either I can create a new project here. Okay, so I want a console application, so I will go here. I want CPP project title. I can give all of you are able to see my screen. Okay, now here it is a IDE. So we know that IDE most of the time it will simplify our life. Okay, so by default in some of the IDE, you will get this type of code already available. Okay, now, but what I want to do is, I want to give my class declaration. Okay, so I will go here. I selected that project. I went to this file. Okay, new. I selected file again. Okay, which type of file? I want C or C++ header file. Okay, so I selected that. Now, what should be the path of this? So I have already path selected. File name, time1 dot header, it will take automatically. Okay, so I'm giving time1. Save. Okay, so you will get this automatically. Now here, I will give the class declaration. Okay, so simply I will say class, the name of the class I want to give is time. Okay, opening bracket, automatically it will give this. Okay, now just for you people, we can write data members and member method anywhere. Only access specifier need to be mentioned correctly. Okay, so if you want to write your data member first, I can. As I said, most of the time, your data member should be have a private access specifier. So private, I will put colon. Okay, int r int minutes, int seconds or sec, I will say. Okay, I will just, for my simplicity, I'm reducing the name because I am required to write it again and again. Oh, this will take minimum. I mean, this is sec. Okay. Now I want to specify the member functions. Okay. So public access specifier will be public because you want to invoke that from outside. Okay. So here we have just declared the attributes, that is variable for that class. I want to set some values also. And sometime I want to read that values also, get that values also. And sometime I would like to print those values also to communicate to the outside world. Okay, so these methods are called getter method and setter methods. Fine. So I will say return type of setting, everything will be void. Okay, void set time. Okay, here it will be int. I will not give the name of, if you want to give the name of formal parameter, you are free to do that. If you don't specify, both way it will work. Okay, int, say minute. okay, and int s. Okay, say what I have specified. I gave the complete signature of the member method, return type, name of the method, and the type of the formal arguments. Okay, I am not giving the definition over here. Then getter method, get, it will be, getter means I want to read something. Okay, so get, so at a time function can return only one value, so I am required to get r. Okay, get r, you know, don't have to int get minutes. Okay, it's up to you how many methods you want to, no, member methods you want to second. Okay, and if you want to print it, I can print it, print void print in military format. Is this fine? I saved with Control S. Okay, so this is my class declaration. I hope everyone is with me. Okay, now I want to give the definition of all the member methods. Okay, definition of the all member methods. So what I will do, I will again add, I will go to that project, I will go to the file option, I will say new file. Now it will be a normal CPP file. Okay, it will be normal CPP file. So again, same here, I will choose the path, and here I will say this will be time one dot, it will take automatically, okay, because we have mentioned all. So already CPP file is okay, but I will, just to ease my task, I will copy something over here. Okay, in addition to this, I will say hash include time one . Okay, and now here I will start giving times. Okay, I will give the return type first. It is void. If I go one by one, times what set time. Here I am required to give the name of the formal. What was the name? Okay. Then what is the name of the data member? First data member, HR. I hope all of you help me in writing this, right? HR, yes, HR. HR is equal to H, C. Okay, so H minute and S is the formal argument, right? In terms of the member and functions language. Okay, this is I set. Then I think M is minute and second is equal to S. I hope I'm writing the data member's name correctly. No, this should be second. Yeah. Okay, I saved it. And in between also you can compile and you can see it. Okay, so it is, so no error in this member method definition. Okay, now I will go for the next member function, that is int get this. So it is what? Written hour, na? Written HR. That's all. Get minute. Written M. Written I don't know. Keep on checking what the member function name you have given here. It is only sec. Okay. And I will keep on in between. Okay. What is the problem? Can anybody tell me? See the error it is giving. What is the problem?
Ma'am, we will have to write time double
Yes.
colons and HR.
Very correct. Yeah. So what I forgot is I forgot to tell that whose member method I'm declaring. That's why it is saying whose HR. Our HR is not defined. Okay. So very correct. Yes. Is this clear? Okay. And now I think one more white control V times. What was that? Print, na? Print 30. Okay. And I will put my logic over here. I will complete my logic over here. Okay. I have already done that. It is not the case. Okay. So here I have added few more code. Okay. So instead of simply doing it, in this example, I have done with some that H cannot be less than 0, greater than H. Everyone can see, right? This code. So I put more checks over here. This program I have already kept ready. Okay, so such time of checking also you can do. So if you want, I can copy paste this logic in our example. Okay, so set time, instead of just setting it, I am improvising my code but now this is HR, this is M, and I think this is S. Okay. So accordingly, you can change. This is a better logic, that's all. But I need to change the name of the formal argument here then. You have to be careful, right? But everything.
Ma'am, in the function you have used both the parameter name and the object and the integer class as M.
I will change it. I will change it. I will change it. So here, what was the name given? I forgot. This is H and this is minute. Okay, so here it will be minute. Here it will be again minute. So change accordingly, right? Is that fine? I hope there should not be any error now. Let me compile and see. Okay, I will copy this also. I will copy this also. So in this, I'm writing my code. I think now it's fine. Okay, fine. I will change this. Okay. I hope everyone got this. This is important. You included, you are telling the compiler that you have written the declaration of that class or definition of that class in this file, in another file. Okay. And you are giving the definition in this time1.cpp. Okay. This is called separate compilation. Now here I will create an instance of that class. Okay. For that, what I need to do, I need to include this again here also. Okay. Now I will create an instance of time. Name of the class was time1, right? Time1, say t. Okay. So small t is an object of the type time1. Sorry, it's a time, not time1. Okay. Again, I will compile it and see is there any error. So it's just a warning that there is an unused variable t. Yes, I have not used it. Now you want to set the value. You want to set the value. So t dot set time. Okay. And here you need to pass the values. So say right now the time is 11, 38 minutes. Assume that 02 seconds. Okay. Again, I will compile it. My program is fine. I will execute it. But there is no output statement, so it will not show me anything. Okay. Now I will invoke. So what we have done actually here is, I will comment and I will write here itself. With this statement, what happened is I created an instance of the user defined type time. Okay. And what is the name of that instance? Small t, which is called an object of that class. Okay. Now that object is having 3 attributes. One is HR. Okay. HR. Another is M, which is representing the minute. And third one is the second. which is representing the second. Now with this function call, member method call, what I did is I set the hour value to 11. Okay, I set the attribute value of M to 38, and I set attribute value second to 02. All of you are with me? Okay, now I want to check whether those values are correctly set or not. I want to read those. Okay, so I have very different ways. I can read this one by one by get hour, get minute, get second. Okay, or I can use it with a print. Fine. So I will demonstrate all of them. So see out hour is equal to HR. Sorry, here it is HR. Yeah. Okay. And just cursor should go to the next line. That's why I'm next line. So I'm doing it with a new line, that is endl. Endl is like a print ln. Okay. Similarly, I will do, okay, we will see, we will execute and we will see. Okay. So again, there is a, can I? Okay. So if I execute, will this code execute? Will this code execute? Anyone? The answer is no, because HR is, yes, all of you put your answer in the chat box. Yes, it is a private. Okay. So instead of that, what we have done, we wrote one method get R. Okay. With this, we can okay. Now, if I compile and if I run, you might not be getting that screen of output screen, but let me see how I can help you. Okay, but I am getting hours is equal to 11. Okay. Similarly, I can write this for getting the minutes. Okay, getting the seconds. This IDE feature is so good that it makes us lazy actually. Okay, because it gives you the option. I will again compile and then I will execute it. Okay, so I on my screen it is okay. There is some typo mistake here. It should be minute. It's a cosmetic, not any seconds. Okay. I'm getting one screen, output screen. I cannot show you here. That hours is equal to 11, minutes is equal to 38, and second is equal to 2. Okay. Okay. And see, the way you want the output, it depends on you. I can say that get hour here, then I can cascade this also. I can cascade this here. Control V. I can say /T with tab. Okay. And again, I can do it with this. So I can cascade my output. /T. You all of you knows what for what /T is given. Okay. I can comment. I'm commenting with the 2 slash lines. Okay. Okay, so I just change the display, that's all. All of you are with me? Any doubt on this? So now somebody was asking that we are repeating the code. Are we repeating the code now? I hope this demonstration answered your question. And try to understand that all these member methods, okay? All these member methods we are invoking in association with an object. Okay, so remember always that the member methods are invoked, called in association with an object. So if you look at the here, okay, this definition, I'm not writing the name of any object, but still that attribute is getting set. We are setting that attribute, getting that value here in this. Okay, so this object with whose association that method get invoked. Okay, so in this case, for this invocation, t.getR, t.getR, here it will be whose are t's are, whose are t's are will be accessed. So that will become implicit. The object name become implicit inside the member method. Is this clear? Any doubt? Any doubt? Shall I go ahead? Okay, similarly, I can add one more statement here and I say just t dot print military. Okay, I will again compile it and I will execute it. It will show me whatever the logic I have put for the military. It will show me the time in that format. Okay, so now I will stop sharing my screen if there is no. Okay, now this was just a demonstration, right? Which I have shown you live, that our is accessed, which is a private data member. So it is going to give me an error and so on. Okay, so advantage of header file. So the header file provides a centralized location for external object declaration, function declaration and member function declaration, type definition, that is class definition. Okay, class definition. You can see in C project. I mean, if you want to develop your C project also, in that also you can have a .h file in which you can declare all the variables, okay, even functions also, and then give the definition into .c file. .h file only declaration, and .c file will have the definition of all those. Okay, and then another file .c file where you can have when you can write a method, write a function which will invoke all those functions which you have written in a .h file and definition in the C file. Okay, so it is not the case that you can do the separate compilation wala concept only for CPP. You can do it with C also. Okay, so it's a way to organize your code properly. Okay, if there is any global variable, you can declare that in .h file and then keep on including it wherever you want. Okay, and tomorrow if you want to change any variable or you want to add some variable, you don't have to look in every file. What you will do, you will go to the header file. Okay, you will add it or you will modify that particular variable, maybe type or maybe scope, whatever it is. Okay, and that file is already included in the various files. Okay, so it will do that automatically. So you don't have to check each and every file because your code is well organized now. Your code is well organized. Okay, so just quickly, I want to show that I'm not sure whether I will be able to finish this topic or not right now, but just I want to show you the layout of program in memory. So when you start executing any program, okay, so how the memory layout is got created, or how your system OS creates the memory layout for executing your program. Okay, so this is just a broad overview. So if you go from the bottom, it start with text. Text means what? It will have your executable code, that is binary image of that process. Okay, then as I said, normal data member and static data members are handled differently. Okay, because their functionality is different. Next topic is the static data member. So here we will see why I am discussing this diagram, because I want to explain you what is the special about this static. So whichever the static variable you declare, that goes into data section. Okay, data section. Then it's a BSS. Okay, so here uninitialized static variable and some data storage is given that I will tell you later on as and when required. Okay, above that is the heap. Okay, above that is a heap. Now if I go from the top, then you will realize that the first part of the memory is allocated to the OS kernel space. Okay, and we cannot read that section. Only processes, okay, kernel level processes can have access to that. Okay, below that is a stack memory. Is this stack memory? If you remember, I said that stack always, no, we say it is grow, but it starts from the higher memory location and goes in a exactly opposite direction. Whereas heap, so all your variables, no, function variables will go here. Whenever we say, right now we declared one function main. Okay, in that we have created inside this main function, we have created an object named T. We know that T is having three data members, HR, M, and second. Okay, so these are the attributes. So here the memory for T will be allocated, and that T will have three parts. One for HR, one for minute, and one for second. Depending on the type of that, the memory bytes will be allocated. So that always go on the stack. Okay, so automatic variable that is local to the function scope called return address. Okay, so stack grows in this direction and heap grow in this direction. Okay, heap is used for dynamic allocation. I hope all of you might have done some kind of program with malloc and alloc. Okay, so that memory is being allocated from the heap. It is called dynamic memory allocation. Okay, and in C++, the corresponding keyword for the malloc is new. Okay, and for free it is delete. These are the new keywords introduced in C++. We will see it soon. Okay, I would like all of you to draw this diagram and remember this. Okay, any doubt about this? Okay, explicitly these are called segments. These are called segments. Okay, so text segment, data segment, BSS segment, all these are the segments. Okay, any query? Any query? If there is any query, all of you are free to put that query in the chat box. I will take query now. So shall I assume that there is no query? Okay, so that BSS is nothing but a block starting symbol, which is reserved. That segment is reserved for some static variable, or we can say it is also reserved for statically allocated variable. That's all for today. Again, today we will meet at 2 o'clock.